Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the Gamers Reality Podcast, based off the GamersReality.com website and Scrimma Games Gamers Reality YouTube channel. We're here to talk about all things gaming. I am your host, Kevin Scrimma. This episode is more of an introduction episode and an invitation to the future podcast and what an actual episode will be like. In future episodes, we will just be talking about video games, and I might play around with some other formats, such as interviews, game reviews, audio versions of videos from the podcast YouTube channel, spoken versions of the blog, etc. So for those of you who don't know me, I might as well start off with some introductions and tell you a little bit about myself. I just recently turned 26 years old. I'm getting old, getting up there for sure. That's my opinion at least. I have a Master's of Science degree in Information Technology from FIT and a Bachelor of Arts degree in Creative and Professional Writing with minors in Literature and Education from Pitt. I have a monster gaming PC that's rocking a GTX 1080 Ti, 6-core Intel i7 6800K CPU at 3.40 GHz, and 32 gigs of RAM for the purpose of streaming and gaming at the same time. I have an Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, 3DS XL, a Google Pixel 2 XL, so I'm super familiar with all the gaming platforms except PlayStation, though I had a PS1 when I was a kid, so some of that bias might show, though I may try to get into PlayStation a bit more down the road. A few of my current favorite games or ones that I've recently played include Fortnite, of course, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Destiny 2, Pokemon Quest, Super Mario Odyssey, Zelda Breath of the Wild, League of Legends, World of Warcraft, and that's pretty much it for now. I'll quickly share some of my earliest gaming memories, or at least the clearest ones. When I was about age 3, I was in a bedroom with my aunt and uncle and they had rented a Nintendo 64 and Super Mario 64 from Blockbuster, I believe. Remember when you could rent consoles? Is there a company out there that lets people rent gaming consoles still? I don't know. Anyway, they were having trouble or dying on Whomp's Fortress, where you had to kick down the big wooden plank, jump on the rotating platforms, and get the star. Was it a 100-coin star? That's how I remember it, at least. I don't remember the whole thing, obviously, but I do remember playing for what I'm pretty sure was the first time, and they were teaching me the controls real quick. And I had Mario jump straight toward that power star without messing up. And I think the memory is so powerful because they were amazed and laughing. And usually memories are more powerful if they're emotionally charged. And thus, at that moment, a gamer was born. When I had my own N64 as a kid, I remember having to leave it turned on because I had a cartridge that would not save the game. I had 2 Super Mario 64 games eventually, one having the gold official N64 logo, which I believe saved the game files, and the one without the golden logo, which did not save the game files. I'm not sure what caused the difference for the games to have the official stamp or not have the official stamp. I had to leave the N64 on a lot to complete the whole game and was sad when it had to be turned off, and that console got hot. I also remember having the Sonic games on the Sega handheld console, and I was with my mom at Toys R Us to trade it in for a Game Boy. Remember, this was without color, without a backlight, and the screen was small. So kids growing up today don't know how lucky they have it with these beautiful consoles and handheld gaming systems we have today. They even had this accessory you could buy where you plug it into the Game Boy and it lights up the outer part of the screen. Yeah, imagine playing your Game Boys like that. I was sad to trade in that Sega gaming console, but happy that I had a Game Boy. My memory of playing Pokemon Red on it, I went through up to the 4th gym with only my starter Pokemon of choice, Charmander, who was then like a level 50-something Charizard, because I didn't know how to use Pokeballs yet, so that Pokemon got all the experience. I somehow learned how to use a Pokeball, and remember, this was without color at first, so items looked sort of weird, and I caught a Pidgeotto as my second Pokemon. When I played Mario Party on N64, the first game, there was this tug-of-war minigame where you had to spin the controller stick fast, and the stick had no padding. At one point, I had a circular scab in the middle of my right hand that hurt like heck. Basically a hole in the middle of my right hand, which healed fine. And there were games like Zelda, Ocarina of Time, or Majora's Mask where there were plenty of times I wasn't sure what to do, be it getting stuck in the first dungeon in the former, or not knowing how to immediately advance in the latter because the moon kept falling. Today you can instantly look something up and there's hundreds of videos and articles on how to do something in a game. Because like on YouTube, that's how they get their views and subs, by making these kind of videos so everyone tries to get there first. And back then, you bought games in their finished state. Unlike today, where they can be released with tons of bugs, or only parts of the game and sell the rest as DLC, or where you play free-to-play games and buy your way to speeding through the game faster, or free-to-play games where you instead buy passes or skins or even dances to pay for the game, or buy loot boxes hoping to get something special from it. And there are those games where grinding for loot, XP, higher stats, items, or going through certain stages and killing enemies over and over is considered most of the freaking content in the game. And there's those games with login bonuses to keep you logging in and playing, games that manipulate your psychology, I could go on for a while. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, none of that. Or at least, not to the extent that it is today. Saying all of that, it makes me wonder if the gaming industry has been slowly exploiting human psychology to manipulate gamers. Don't get me wrong, some of the games that do these things can be amazing, and some others that do these things, not so much. Gaming was definitely different back then. I have many more stories, and maybe we can do a podcast or article where others share some of their fondest or worst gaming memories. Feel free to share a random gaming memory on a comment section on any of my videos, articles, or social media pages. Well, that's all for now. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Whatever platform you're using to listen to the podcast, if you can, feel free to subscribe and write a review. It really is a big help for everyone involved. You can check out any show notes on our website, gamers-reality.com. Feel free to sign up for the free newsletter there, and you'll receive free stuff from me and be the first to know when I upload a podcast. You can also check out the podcast YouTube channel, Scrim of Games Gamers Reality, where I stream games, make game reviews, have game thesis episodes, video game motivation episodes, and much more. It's Scrim of Games just for Twitch and Mixer, and also for my Facebook page and Xbox gamertag. You can follow me on Twitter at Kevin Scrima, and last, if you're enjoying all the content I'm putting out there for the YouTube channel, blog, podcast, and whatnot, please consider becoming a supporter by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Kevin Scrima. Donating just $1 a month will help cover the cost of keeping things up and running. Doing all of this certainly costs money, such as for hosting platforms, but I have a lot of fun and enjoy giving content to you guys. Simply put, your donations will allow me to make even more content for you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me and listening, and I'll see you next time. Peace.